Today I'm going to give away a free t-shirt, bring you a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, reveal the books I bought this week, and, if I screw up, a blooper reel. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching a Comic Hero show. Now kick that logo! Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Coming to you from my humble abode. Now, you're probably wondering, Vic, why aren't you doing an episode at Southern Realms Comics and Games? Well, I can answer that very easily. I had to work today, and I really didn't have a lot of time to do an episode there. But I did go to Southern Realms, and I did buy some books. So I want to thank James and Jennifer Gunter for allowing me to come. And they were a little heartbroken by it, and I'm sorry, but you know, man's gotta work. If you can't work, you can't eat. I'll starve and die. But I just want to go ahead and say this. It's not so much that we go through adversity, because this is a bit of adversity. When you can't be able to do what you want to do. It's not so much that we go through adversity, it only matters how we face it. It only matters how we respond to it. And, sometimes, it may be an old saying, but when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And I'm going to make one tasty lemonade in this episode. Alright then, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. Alright, last week's episode I asked, which U.S. state is Captain Kirk from? Well, the correct answer is Iowa. Now, keep in mind there was a famous line in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home where he was having a dinner date with Dr. Jillian Taylor, who was played by Catherine Hicks. And Dr. Taylor had asked him, so you're from outer space? And then Captain Kirk said, no, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space. So the correct answer is Iowa. And 10 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in the drawing, and that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tea on this week's episode of the show is Mandy Hooter from Central Port, Oregon. I almost said Arkansas, I meant Oregon. Sorry, Mandy, but Mandy Hooter from Central Port, Oregon. So congratulations, Mandy. You earned yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode. And this one is, I had to think long and hard about this one. But this is a Daredevil question. What is the name of Daredevil / Matt Murdock's father? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in the drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. Now, Jerome Goddard from Hesperia, California. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied today. But Jerome Goddard from Hesperia, California has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight. And this one features, this one's a little cosmic, and this one's a little mystical. Representing Marvel, we have the Silver Surfer. And representing Nickelodeon Studios, we have Aang. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Silver Surfer versus Aang. Silver Surfer possesses blast power, cosmic awareness, empathy, energy absorption, energy manipulation, energy shield, energy enhanced strike, flight, gravity control, healing, illusion casting, invulnerability, light projection, longevity, intangibility, precognition, shapeshifting, enhanced stamina, super hearing, super sight, super speed, superhuman strength, telekinesis, telepathy, teleportation, time manipulation, time travel, and tracking. Aang possesses airbending, waterbending, earthbending, firebending, energy bending, and various combat skills. Who will win? It's obvious that the Silver Surfer has the upper hand in this fight. Aang would bend the air around the Silver Surfer, but the latter would go intangible and let the air pass right through him. Aang would then resort to water bending, but the latter veers away from the water before impact. Aang would then resort to fire bending, but the Silver Surfer absorbs the fire. He tells Aang, "You are a child. I refuse to fight children." The Silver Surfer then flies away. This fight ends in a draw. But wait! As the Silver Surfer flies away, Aang would then use earthbending to knock the latter off his board. The Silver Surfer catches it and absorbs all of Aang's abilities. Silver Surfer wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, and if you have a fight request for future episodes, contact info is down there. Alright, it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Okay, I'm only going to talk about one thing in this week's episode, and it's about Justice League. Now, they made a controversial move by deleting all the scenes that Lex Luthor was involved in. Now, keep in place, Jesse Eisenberg played the role of Lex Luthor beginning in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice from last year. And he ended up being incarcerated and sent to prison at the very end of it. And he was going to play a role in the Justice League movie coming out this year. I don't think that I'm totally against this move, because if you're going to cast somebody, I mean, if you're going to end up doing that, then why in the world you cast him in the first place? I mean, not only is that a waste of money, that's also, that's kind of burning bridges. Now, there was some other stuff that going on with the Justice League movie. Zack Snyder ended up stepping down from directing the movie due to the death of his daughter, which is perfectly understandable. I mean, I can understand how devastating that might be to him and his wife. And Joss Whedon ended up stepping in and finishing. I understand that, but to do away with scenes that Jesse Eisenberg filmed as Lex Luthor, that's just I don't understand why you would do that. I mean, the main villain in the movie is going to be a classic Justice League villain named Timberwolf. I mean, not Timberwolf, Steppenwolf. Yeah, Steppenwolf would be the main villain in it. But, a lot of folks don't know who Steppenwolf is. I mean, honestly, I don't either. And I've been reading Justice League for some time. But, when you take out a classic villain like Lex Luthor, out of the equation, then I just think that's a bad move. I mean, just when DC and Warner Brothers were starting to redeem themselves in terms of in terms of movies, Wonder Woman. I mean, just Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. A lot of folks. There were some folks that liked it. There were some folks that didn't. I kind of had mixed feelings about it. Suicide Squad. There were some folks that liked it, and there were some folks who didn't. I mean, the folks who didn't like it, I believe they paid too close attention to detail. And I'm one that pays close attention to detail. But then you had Wonder Woman that was directed by Patty Jenkins, and she did an amazing job. And you would think, okay, this is a step in the right direction. Then the whole thing with Justice League comes up, with the whole, with doing away with some of the Lex Luthor scenes. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, I have a few books, quite a few books rather, and I'm not going to give a brief description of them, so I'm just going to let you know what they are. Alright, first up is Action Comics number 985. Detective Comics number 961. Flash number 28. The Flash number 29. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 25. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 27. Batman number 28. Batman number 29. Titans number 14. Uh-oh. Wonder Woman number 28. Teen Titans number 11. And finally, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 3. Alright, that's 12 I bought, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 8,141. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. What is Daredevil / Matt Murdock's father's name? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Mandy Hooter from Centralport, Oregon, who won a free tee in this week's episode of the show. Alright, it's birthday time here on the Comic Hero Show, and happy birthday this past Monday to my friend Ashley King. And happy birthday this past Monday to the proud pastor of Evening Star CME Church in Cullen, Louisiana, Pastor Shirley Duty. And happy birthday this past Tuesday to one of my friends from Homer, Louisiana, Cecily Young. Happy birthday to one of my friends that I was in band with at ULM, who's also a very devout viewer of the show, Jalen Jack. And happy birthday to one of my sister's classmates, Kamita Warren. And happy birthday this past Wednesday to my good friend Holly Middleton. And happy birthday to Homer, Louisiana's very own Linda Hardaway. And happy birthday this past Thursday to my friend, my good friend that I was in band with at ULM and also was in a few classes with at ULM, Brittany Williamson. And happy birthday to Monroe's very own Tabby Trujillo. And happy birthday yesterday to one of my classmates, Emily Armstrong. And happy birthday to my cousin, Labrisha Washington. And happy birthday to Pastor Orlando Evans. And then happy birthday tomorrow to one of my friends from Homer, Louisiana, Shanika Wright. Alright, haven't done an episode here at my apartment in over 2 years, and but sometimes when I knew that there was a chance I wasn't going to be able to do this week's episode of the show at Southern Realms because of work. But as long as I get to do it, that's all that matters. I don't have, just because I'm not at Southern Realms, it doesn't mean or any comic book store, it doesn't mean I can't do the show. It just means, well, I can't do the show. I just can't do the show there. And besides, when I started doing the show, it was right here. And speaking of which, excuse me, in October, it'll be the 4th anniversary of the Comic Hero Show. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do an episode of Southern Realms Comics and Games, hopefully. And also, as I said before, in a few weeks, I'm going to be going to Louisiana Comic Con in Lafayette, and I'm going to do a split edition of the show, where part 1 will be at Acadiana Comics and Collectibles in Lafayette, and part 2 will be at the Cajun Dome Convention Center site of Louisiana Comic Con Lafayette. And also, if you have any suggestions for the show, anything you think that'll make the show better, please let me know. Please. I mean, this may be my show, but I'm not a blowhard about it. I'm always up for people's suggestions. Alright, I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 181. Whether it be here or Southern Realms Comics and Games. Hopefully it's the latter and not the former. But until then, be safe. Oh, by the way, I didn't speculate. This is a Lincoln Prep Panthers themed Comic Hero tee. This is the last episode that I'm doing of the show, which is a salute. That's a salute to the Ruston Grambling area. And you know, Lincoln Prep Panthers, they used to be the Grambling Lab Kittens, but they changed the name of the school and the mascot a year ago. And so if you're watching this and you're a graduate of either Grambling Lab / Lincoln Prep, this episode is for you. And also, you know, I had a lot of fun doing this this salute, and I did it as an opening salvo to me doing episodes over at Southern Realms. And so all Louisiana Tech, Grambling, Ruston High School, Cedar Creek School, and Lincoln Prep students, all these episodes, these first 6 episodes were for y'all. Yeah. Alright, I'm Victor Nunley. I'm the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 181 at Southern Realms Comics and Games, hopefully. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and go Panthers! Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Comic Hero. Alright, last week's episode, I asked, which U.S. state is Captain Kirk from? Well, the correct answer is Iowa. Now, keep in mind, in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home from 1986, a zoologist, or... Alright, I have quite a few books, and I'm not going to give a brief description of each one. I'm just going to let you know what they are.